Welcome, everybody, to the show. My name is True Powers Mind. Oh, let me start this all over. I had just got finished fixing the microphone, had some technical difficulties, but we're working through them to make it happen. Okay, so this is TPIM SR Live. Today's date, June 12th, 2019, the year of our Lord. Today's topic, her choice. Her choice. Now, for those who are uninitiated, this here is Elizabeth Warren, the one who was better known as Little Pocahontas, I believe President called her, because she was claiming Native ancestry, which a DNA test later proved could be no farther from the truth. She would not be in any way considered Native. All right. So let's just get right into it. You got to bear with me. I got a new system here now, and it's like Twister. I got to slip and slide and juke and jive. But I'm so happy. It's as if I got a new flaming sword to cut through the lies and the propaganda. And that's what I'm going to use it for. Thank you, thank you, thank you, brother. And thank the Most High for waking us all up today and getting us going. Now, you might notice it's a little bit more quieter than normal here at the studio because, well, quite frankly, the studio audience is still asleep. That's almost anecdotal. But many of us out here are asleep, friends. Many of us. Not funny. Letterman says Trump is now psychopathic and a soulless bastard. That's what John Letterman says. And you know what, guys? You almost can expect that. Here's the problem. Whenever you want our collective leader to fail, that is a fundamental problem. And it overshadows, or perhaps even undershadows, the actual problem in our society. It goes back to not being sincere and not being honest. We're at a point politically where we almost expect the political leaders to be liars, adulterers, fornificators in general, unrighteous, and to the point now where they're basically anti-spirituality, anti-morality. What is moral about corrupt leadership? What is moral about a decline in societal standards of behavior? Not just pertaining to social groups in our society, but I'm talking about embedded and strengthened by those so-called empowered or empower of our society. We have to get with it, y'all. We have to make a decision. Are we going to be righteous people with righteous intents? Hold on. I can't handle this no more. I got to fix this the old-fashioned way. Oh, there. Oh, that's actually perfect, I think. Yeah, that's pretty doggone good. Now, as we all know, June 15th is coming up quite rapidly. And as far as I'm concerned, it's going right on schedule. Hold on. Oh no. I'm sorry. I quite kind of literally woke up as well. Hold on 1 second. China exposed. Now, this is coming from an authoritative news source. Hopefully, you guys saw that video that I posted yesterday about the new censorship guidelines, which are basically the old censorship guidelines. But, basically, they're going to be shutting us little people up. And on YouTube, you're just going to be getting, the big news feeds because they are committed to their advertisers. YouTube is. So let's check this out. I think this is more that music shit. Yeah. Hold on. Well, hopefully you guys can kind of see what's going on. It's impossible to try to work within this little system here. Hold on. All right. Or maybe I can actually go. Hold on 1 second. And you know what? Oh, man, this is really weird. Trying to find my history. Oh, there it is, right here.
Us the Hong Kong.
Okay.
Welcome back to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. This was Hong Kong on Sunday. Not a good day for commuters, especially because the subways look like this, which makes my daily commute to Manhattan seem like walking on sunshine. I never thought I'd miss the A train. Organizers in Hong Kong said more than 1 million people hit the streets on Sunday. They're protesting Hong Kong's controversial extradition bill. If the bill gets passed, it would allow Chinese authorities to order Hong Kong authorities to arrest and deport suspected criminals to mainland China. This is a big deal because a lot of so-called crimes in mainland China are not crimes in Hong Kong or other free countries. Crimes like wanting more democracy and rule of law, or being a Catholic bishop. The version of the bill on the Hong Kong legislature's website says,
now, once again, being a Catholic bishop, the way it's being played out now, one may consider some sort of hold on, I'm trying to get this set up right. All right, I think this will work. Everything here is kind of new, y'all, so I am working it in progress. Now if I can just get a damn camera. All right. Wanting more democracy, blah blah blah. It doesn't work, y'all. The democracy they're talking about serving up is basically the culture of death, where life is not preserved nor really respected in many respects. I'm talking about both unborn children and animals, confinement situations. Look at Iowa. One thing they're not talking about, it's the smell from the hog farms. So I know in the so-called Western world, you have to look at the hypocrisy when we talk about punishing and actually upholding the law. Some people are held to the letter and some people aren't held at all. Let's continue.
The extradition bill applies only to crimes that are punishable in Hong Kong with imprisonment for more than 3 years. But because of pressure, at the end of May, Hong Kong's Secretary of Security said they would change the threshold to crimes punishable only by 7 years or more. And then everyone was like, okay, that sounds reasonable. Problem solved, everyone. Nothing to worry about. Just kidding. People are still unhappy because that doesn't change the fundamental problem with
the fundamental problem with Hong Kong is that they were a Europe or a British colony city. So, in some respects, they feel as if they're not a part of China. But reality is, they are absolutely a part of China, just like Taiwan and the rest of it. Now, I don't know if people are willing to fight and die for the sovereignty, so called sovereignty of Hong Kong. But I think this will be a ridiculous flashpoint for World War III.
The bill. The fundamental problem is that Hong Kongers don't trust Beijing, and by extension, they no longer trust the Hong Kong government. A lot of Hong Kongers believe the bill itself is simply the first step in the Chinese Communist Party's larger plan to water down Hong Kong's freedoms and rule of law, so Hong Kong eventually operates like the rest of China, with arbitrary arrests and torture. Who could forget torture?
Do you forget Guantanamo Bay? I mean, before we start throwing the T word around, let's make sure the USA's house is in order. People are getting tortured right now as we speak, quite literally. And when I mean torture, I mean actual torture, pliers, blow torches, fingernails being pulled, tongues being cut, stuff like that.
Hong Kong's really been missing out on the torture that mainland Chinese dissidents enjoy every day. Of course, when the Chinese Communist Party forced the UK to turn over Hong Kong to China in 1997, they signed the Sino-British Joint Declaration. It promised 50 years no change, meaning the Communist Party would not infringe on Hong Kong's laws for at least 50 years. But this extradition bill is a clear violation of that promise.
Oh, stop with promises. Look at his face. He knows this bullshit. As if we have a history of upholding treaties and whatnot. The Chinese government capitulated to those terms because they weren't quite as militarily powerful as they are now back in 1997. Now that they have satellite killing weaponry, rockets and missiles for days, yeah, they can basically tell the crown, fuck off, we're going to take our city back. If you don't like it, well, too bad.
Not that we didn't see it coming. 2 years ago, Chinese authorities officially stated their intention to completely disregard that declaration. But what is a surprise is just how many people came out to protest the extradition bill. 1 million people is a lot, especially in a city of only 7 million people. It was by far the biggest protest in Hong Kong since it was handed over to China in 1997. So obviously the most important question Chinese authorities are asking is, who's behind this massive disruption of social harmony? Fortunately, state-run media has the answer. According to China Daily, it's hostile foreign forces. They're seizing the opportunity to advance their own strategy to hurt China by trying to create havoc in Hong Kong. Now, state-run media doesn't specifically name who those foreign...
Our state-run media over here, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, we got to understand these governments are in cahoots with each other. There's really not a China. There's really not a United States. There's really only central banks. There's really only money. There's really only power in said money. Right now, the world is marching to automation. Any country that resists automation or doesn't fully embrace the transhumanist nonsense that's coming our way will be utterly annihilated by killing machines. Right now is the time to avoid this apocalyptic future by changing the emphasis. What's up, Brother King? On what we value. Do we value life, brother? Or do we value gems, gold, and dollars? I value life. I value human beings prospering. I value people growing, maturing, learning from their mistakes, learning from their failures, reveling in the glory of succeeding. and having faith to overcome the hurdles. Let's continue.
Foreign forces are, but I'm going to assume they're referring to me. Well, me and the CIA. That's right, United Front groups and pro-Chinese Communist Party media have accused random foreigners in Hong Kong of being part of the CIA. Take it from me, those guys are not in the CIA. And what's even better is that I've heard...
I'm sorry, Chris, or whoever you are. We can't take it from you. Now, for those who have been longtime listeners to the show, you guys all understand that we go into depth and detail about covert actions that affects us all openly. A lot of the nonsense that's going down in South America, we can look at the School of Americas and their influence using institutions, alphabet agencies, to do regime restructuring campaigns or total regime change, which affects the people in very negative ways. Now, if we want to talk about freedom and liberty, then how come we don't actually approach the world with that attitude? We approach the world like, Brother King, we know you got a shit ton of oil underneath your land. And what we're going to do is send in a bunch of goons to destabilize your society. And then we're going to send in, quote unquote, the IMF to, shore up the devastation after we implement all these covert operations. And then we send in the corporations to suck that oil out so that the citizens here can drive their cars, eating a cheeseburger, and having a fabulous day, while your people are suffering civil war, genocide, and just overall a crappy lifestyle. War is coming, y'all. I'm just showing you this report just to show you how they're hyping up the divide in China, just like they're hyping up the divide in the United States.
From a very reliable source in Hong Kong that none of the guys circled in those photos are even American. So the CIA isn't part of the foreign forces, but I'm going to assume that I still am, although I can't take all the credit, because it was more than just a few China Uncensored fans in Hong Kong who joined Sunday's ginormous march. And it was more than just students and activists who were the bulk of the 2014 umbrella protests. This protest also included many ordinary Hong Kongers. According to this poll,
all they're doing is exposing themselves. I'm telling you guys, if you want to go out and protest, this is what you're essentially doing. Hey, government, I disagree with you, and I'm going to do everything in my power to fight your power. You're just exposing yourself, and you're going to be exterminated. Point. That's just the point. They can use everybody's social media. Oh, so you think this way? Okay. So now you must go to re-education camp. I'm sorry. And that's how it's going to be. In the United States, they'll just straight disappear your ass. Well, I thought John was going to the store, but I haven't seen him for 4 months. And he's screaming because his balls are literally in a vice down in Guantanamo. Cuba, by the way. Another communist country. So let's get this right. We have the prison industrial complex using prisoners to make McDonald's uniforms, okay? We get most of our electronics from communist China, and one of our most well-known torture centers is in communist Cuba. Something's just not adding up, guys and gals.
A third of the marchers had never protested before. The extradition bill has even riled up many of Hong Kong's elite. Business people who feel that Hong Kong's rule of law is critical to the future of their corporate interests. Even lawyers participated, following a smaller lawyers' protest last week. So basically, a huge cross-section of Hong Kong, including a lot of influential people, feel the extradition bill could affect them.
Did you hear what the dude said? These lawyers and professionals only protesting for their corporate interests? You not understand the fundamental difference between capitalism / communism? Communists don't give a damn about corporations. That's what makes them so appealing to the lower class. Because communists gives the appearance that they care about the common man and woman. Where we all should be fully aware now There is no government system that indeed cares. Only gives you the illusion.
And that's what makes this different from many of the other protests Hong Kong has seen over the last 20 years. It means everyone's angry now. And it's a big challenge to Hong Kong.
Yeah, everyone who's not affiliated with the Communist Party in Hong Kong. And we got to understand that the words he's choosing, everybody, like that will give you the sense that from the janitor to the corporate CEO, they're all in one unison. No, we don't want, please.
Kong's leadership, especially Chief Executive Carrie Lam, who's the equivalent of Hong Kong's governor. On Monday, she defended the extradition bill.
I have not received any instruction or mandate from Beijing to do this bill.
Wait, she didn't receive any instructions from Beijing? She just decided on her own that it would be a good idea to let the Communist Party run roughshod over Hong Kong's rule of law? So you're telling me this meme is not accurate? I mean, if I were in Carrie Lam's shoes, I would have been like, yeah, Beijing totally made me do it.
And your ass would have been in a detention center before the night was up. If we don't understand political moves and movements by now, I don't know what to say. Now we're going to move on. Hold on. Okay. I want to show you Brother Nick's video. And once again, hopefully Brother Nick hears this video or this podcast right here. Please, brother, be careful about doing the flat earth stuff. Please be careful about rocking the boat as far as the Hellenistic model of the globe, because YouTube is considering that a part of hate speech and they're shutting it down. Now, I'm going to the bitter end, try to get as much information out. You're going to be noticing I will not be using certain words, but those long-time listeners, you guys understand me. You guys know where I'm coming from. We have to become smarter and we have to become more, I guess, cloak and daggerish, understanding the people who want to oppress us all have an algorithm of oppression.
Peace, 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 love, and light, my star family. This is just another quick article voiceover from Russia Times from the World News section. Several injured in Germany after massive hailstones hammered down on Munich. Several people were injured and buildings damaged in a powerful storm that saw hailstones the size of golf balls rain down on the German city of Munich. A series of intense thunderstorms hit parts of southern Germany on Monday, with winds reported to be up to 120 kilometers an hour, 75 miles an hour in Bavaria. Houses were flooded and car windows smashed on the storm, and several people, including a 7-year-old boy, were injured, according to reports. Here's a quick video right here. Come on now, play. There we go. Look at this, my people. Let's let it load up a little bit. Here we go. Look at this mess. That's your cloud seeding. That's your harp. That's everything from the Agenda 21 aspect and them just trying to dominate the weather, trying to control weather. All governments want to control weather. So you have that. Another video right here from Twitter. Let's play this video right here. Just look at the mess. Look at that. Look at that.
Now that would kill somebody messing around in that.
Another video. Just all out mayhem. Now, who would want to be in some mess like that?
Exactly.
That's an all-out nightmare.
Exactly.
Terrible. You get hit in the head with that, you probably get knocked the fuck out.
Exactly.
More than 550 emergency calls were made in Munich alone during the storm, according to the German press agency DPA. German meteorologists German meteorologists described the hailstones as being 5 centimeters in size. However, some witnesses reported hail the size of a tennis ball, 6.5 centimeters. Locals took social media to share the alarming footage. Well, in my opinion, this weather is not normal. These are not normal storms. These are not normal happenings. These are not normal lightning strikes. This is not normal. This is all orchestrated. All orchestrated. Or some, in my opinion, there might be some
Welcome to the show, Sister Sandra.
other source that's causing these weird occurrences. Like in some parts of the desert in Saudi Arabia, it's snowing. In the last couple previous months and weeks, there's been weird activity in the desert where it's snowing and it's raining in places where it shouldn't be raining at, or it's flooding, nonstop flooding. All of this is just part of the reset. People's lives are being taken, being purged. The land's being purged of all the evilness and the souls that are bad people that have to get gone. Y'all are parasites. Y'all have to go. This is just the way it is. Some will be affected more than others. But we will all experience this madness going on because our star family's coming back. They are not happy.
Harp's
There's the
totally in
overseers,
effect.
the lookout men, and they're watching us in these cloaked ships, these cloaked vehicles in the sky, and they're pissed and they're angry because of what the state of the world has come to. Nothing but just utter mess and chaos, confusion out of chaos. All of the above. It makes no damn sense. But we're supposed to keep going on another 400 and 800 years living the same fucking way in this toxic, parasitic environment. Dirty water, dirty air, unclean food, unclean eating habits, unclean lifestyle. How can we continue to go on to the future? We will eventually die out like the other races and not other races, but other
Animals.
people from past times, like the Romans and a lot of these major empires that reigned for so many years, but eventually they stopped. They fell from power because of them not progressing. They got comfortable doing what they thought was okay and didn't progress. They stood still, and history just wiped their ass away. Now, history is doing the same thing, but in an aspect of nature. Nature's coming in and just wiping everybody the fuck out. Everybody that's meant to be here is going to still be here. But for the ones that are useless and don't need to be here, they will get wiped the fuck out. You will get hit by lightning. You will get flooded the fuck out. You will get famine the fuck out. You will get plagued the fuck out. You will get all of the above. Because it's time for the reset, and people don't understand this.
It's time, like Sister Sandra said, we have to evolve consciously in love. What a beautiful comment. Timely one as well. The reactionary level that we are at based upon fear, anger, it's no good. It's not gonna go the long haul. The men and women that participated in developing HARP, developing the cloud seeding programs, develop the bio-specific viruses and bacteria. These people are doing this not out of love, but out of fear and out of hatred. We have to overcome. If we want to have a future, we have to quit debasing ourselves, quit debasing our planet, and most importantly, quit debasing our consciousness. What does it truly mean, sisters and brothers, to be human? Brother King, the mass censorship is the equivalent to a burning of the books against our Black people. Well, absolutely. And this is one thing I also want to share. With that castration bill down there, I believe, in Georgia or whatnot, or Alabama, where the sex predators are going to be chemically castrated. One, what happens to women? Are we going to cut off their tits and or castrate their well, they don't really have nothing to castrate, but somehow dissolve their ovaries? Or is it just going to be specifically targeting men? And of which men will specifically be targeting black men? Because I guarantee you, if that becomes law on suddenly, there's going to be brown balls getting castrated right and left in the great state of Bama. Let's continue on with Brothers Nicks, and then we're going to move on to another interesting video I came across the other day.
People are not ready for what's going to happen. A major purge on this damn planet. It is going to get ugly. And for the ones that are weak of heart and faint of heart, hey, you got to roll with the punches or lay down or get put the fuck down. Because if you stand in my way, I'm not having you stand in my way of my progression and my ascension. This is all just, like I said, this is all part of their Agenda 21 and their plan to scare everybody and have everybody in fear and panicking. But guess what? I feel comfortable with what I'm doing right now. I'm comfortable in my shoes. I'm comfortable doing this. This is not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. This is not just happening in Germany. This is happening all around the world. Come on now.
Happening in Missouri.
World news. Hence, it's in the world news category. Not just in Germany. It's all over this place. But I'm an individual right here in my Star family. I love y'all from the bottom of my heart. Peace, peace, love, and light. Infinite peace and power. I'm out of here.
Now, we just went through the attack on humanity through using weather and weather modification techniques. Next, let's show how they're out to destroy the family. All right, hold on. History. Hold on 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Oh, here it is. Here it is, right here.
Hi everyone, Sane Man here. This video is brought to you by a donation from Colin, and here's what he has to say. What's up, Sane the Man? A warning, as this topic is very controversial. I wanted to hear your thoughts on a recent hypothesis that I came upon. This all happened before the notorious Gillette commercial, but it bears
Also, this is a gentleman who's a part of the MGTOW movement. The things in this video is going to be quite provocative. Let's just say that. I hope you listen with an open mind and understand what are they saying in between the lines. It's really quite fascinating.
striking similarities. I've begun looking at feminist propaganda through a red pill lens. What I came to realize is that women today are extremely poisoned. Let me explain. I believe that many of the problems in our society today come from people, men and women, not being honest. Because of fear of political correctness and fear of being shamed, we're all living with these masks, especially women. So
No, I don't. I do understand actually what perspective this gentleman's coming from, but many of the folks that I associate with don't live in fear of political correctness. Actually, many people actually understand there's nothing wrong with being politically correct in public. There really isn't, unless you want to have a confrontation. No abortions and castrations. Very confusing. Brother Chris, it's not very confusing. They want to annihilate us. They want to destroy us. They want to ensure that we have no future. If you have no balls, you have no offsprings. If you have no babies, you have no offsprings. You have no offsprings, you have no future.
was not to disrupt the status quo. The result is a neglect of our dark sides that comes out with regards to the most destructive ways. I feel that most people hold back their real feelings and are too afraid to speak their thoughts. But we all know the truth when we look deep within. I feel that men in Western societies are the mirrors of Western women's dark side.
And once again, when he's saying Western world, that's code for white nations.
Let me explain. Take the Gillette commercial, for example. The message is very clear that masculinity is toxic. However, I believe that it's women's way of placing the blame on their men. They hate themselves because they know their femininity is toxic and cannot take accountability for this knowledge. Here's another one. Women love seeing men portrayed as stupid because deep down they know that most women are intellectually inferior to the highest men. White men are also portrayed as racist, but I've seen countless white men in interracial relationships.
Stop. Now, this is the provocative part, what he's about ready to say next. So he's trying to make a comparison between, I guess, races. I don't know if he's saying that white folks aren't racist or whatnot, but just listen, he'll explain it.
Yet many women of just about every race only want to be with white men. Who are the real racists here?
Did you hear what this fool just said? That women, all the women want to be with a white guy. What he's really saying is white guys have the money. That's why this MGTOW thing is kind of aimed at them in many ways. White guys want the money. So therefore, most women want to be with the guy with what? The money. The money. It's all about the money in the Western mindset, right? It's all about the money. So that means it's all about cutting down all the damn trees, killing all the damn animals, because you got to make the buck, right, brother Chris? You got to make the money. That is the poison of the society. It should not be about the money. It should be about preserving the future, uplifting the human condition, putting an end to sorrow and pain, putting an end to racism, misogyny, homophobicism, or whatever the hell that is.
I could keep going on, but I want other MGTOWs to come up with their own as well. Instead, I will leave you with a few ideas that I flipped. Men are such pigs was an expression that I used to hear, but that's not what I see. Women don't trust their men because they don't know they themselves cannot be trusted. F you ladies, you are guilty until you prove us wrong. To the woman viewers, we do love you. Otherwise, we wouldn't actually bother talking about you. You just need a good spanking. MGTOW for life. Well, Colin, thanks for your donation as well as your time.
Wow. The chicks need a good spanking. What a piece of crap. You know what? If one of my daughters got with a fella like that, which I know they wouldn't, but they did, I would beat the shit out of this dude. You're going to spank my kid? Are you out your mind? So let's continue.
Topic. But before I get to it, let me tell you about today's sponsor, The Dollhouse. Now you can order Dollhouse dolls from San Antonio, Texas. How about a date with
Boom. This is what MGTOW's ultimately going to evolve into, guys. And I'm glad I came across this video. Thank you to the confidential informant that sent me this to review. I am totally against having sex with robots. I think that's immoral. I think it's perversion. Having sex with disgusting. A woman, a flesh and blood woman, is always preferable than a plastic silicone blow up doll, because that's what that's not a robot. For one, it can't move. It's a blow up doll that you just don't have to blow up.
Herbaceous Anastasia. She won't treat you like an emotional tampon because she doesn't say very much. How about Nava? I'd suggest her with a thick, curvy body with a big booty if you like swirling with dolls. If you prefer something with more of an Asian persuasion, then the Sandman recommends Pixie. It's time to trade shekels for some silicone jigglies. Once you get your hands on...
The reason why, brother Chris, is that they want men to focus in on this, then to focus in on a real woman. A real woman that you have to learn how to deal with. A real woman that, yeah, she could be emotional on some days, not so much on the next. That's how you grow. And that's how you truly mature. It's not by running away from conflict or running away from a situation where you don't always get your way. It's learning how to deal, and not just to deal, but to prosper in that relationship and raise those babies and have a home and show love to one another. That's what you can't show no love to no silicone robot, brother Chris. How you gonna, oh, I love you, robot. I love you too, Charlie. Oh, my name's not Charlie. Hold on, let me code this in right. I love you too, Tommy. You know, whatever. It basically dulls your ability to make true, sincere human relationship connections. And some of these young men following the MGTOW. Now, some of what MGTOW talks about is actually point on, especially when you're dealing with uh, an abusive situation. What I mean by abusive, where the female's beating you up in those cases. Apparently, that's a real thing. And so then you need to get away. Nobody deserves to sit there and get beat up, man or woman. If you're a woman out there and you got some dude and this dude's beating you up and going out laying around and stuff, good morning, brother Travis. Then you need to get away from him. Nobody needs to be putting their hands on you, ladies, and nobody needs to be putting your hands on you, man. Now, when somebody comes into the house and tries to attack somebody, that's when somebody needs some hands put on them. That's when you attack the perpetrator, but you don't attack the people you love.
When both you and the doll will scream out in ecstasy, "Oh God, oh yes, oh God, oh Sandman." Digital pimp link is in the description below. Anyways, now back to Colin, and he wants me to talk about women being poisoned. Colin, don't you mean toxic? I agree with you that many problems in society come about from people not being honest. But lies aren't always bad. Lies put people at ease, it seems. For example, if a woman was truthful and said, "I don't love you, and I only pretend to love you because..."
Only a pussy would say lies are good. That's horrible. That's horrible advice. Lies are always bad and they're always detrimental. Not only that, fundamentally, lies shows discontent for the person you're speaking to. Is you're willfully and knowingly telling people lies. You can try to mask that shit by saying, "Oh, I'm doing it for their benefit." No, you're not. You're doing it because you lack the spine to be a truthful, honest, and sincere human being, which is tough in a day and age in which we live, where the truth is often censored.
I'm afraid of ending up all alone. How would it feel to be such a man with regards to her emotions flowing into you as an emotional tampon? You also mentioned people being politically correct. Women, of course, are afraid to be politically incorrect because it leaves them open to attacks by other women. If they get shamed for not following the social rules, it lowers their status and reduces their ability to find higher quality chubby custard launchers. Nothing has changed throughout history. Political correctness has always been with us to various degrees. Women have always been toxic to each other as well as men. I think you're just getting older and wiser and you're starting to spot things better. Women probably just hold back on the truth because of their feelings, because of biology. The women in the past that were honest probably didn't have their genes make it into today's gene pool. They would tell the truth to their caveman Chad, and he would feed them to a saber-toothed tiger and make an example of her.
I'm glad he said that. You see, that just really kind of shows you the savagery, the internal savagery of what we're dealing with. Here's a dude that openly admits, he lived in a cave, and he openly admits that he's a savage. He openly admits that with whatever girl he knocked over the head and dragged up into that mess, if she doesn't in whatever way absolutely adore him and love him, then he's going to literally feed her to his pet. That type of savagery doesn't go away. It's still inside the beast. The only thing that will cure that is an evolution, like the sister said, of consciousness. Meaning that you have to understand, in order to be loved, you have to be lovable. If you're not lovable, then why are people going to love you? Give you something to think about.
Honesty means being specific.
And also, I'm sorry, before we start again, that's why it's so easy for this cat to make love to a robot, because he's not in it for love. He's in it for power and control.
Think about your intentions and actions. Honesty means having to take responsibility. We know how much women like to take responsibility when something goes wrong. Men too, but women more so. With regards to women promoting toxic masculinity, it's a way for women to place the blame on men. But it also has to do with that one line: the best defense is a good offense. If men are being emotionally attacked and have their self-esteem destroyed, then they won't stand up to toxic femininity when they see it, because they'll be too busy trying to protect themselves from the next barrage of verbal diarrhea and nagging. But that female strategy of promoting toxic masculinity only works to a point. Once you piss off enough men, they will eventually fight back. Feminism has attacked men for over a century now, and men just recoiled into themselves. We took the emotional abuse, the gaslighting, the cold shoulder, and being called morons because we knew we weren't, and we had enough self esteem not to care. But then the men's rights movement showed up, and then some women realized that it might be time to stop their attacks because they wouldn't be gaining access to men's resources anymore.
Do you hear the common theme? Resources. See, resources should not be the end game. Resources should just be the means to the end game. The end game should be being in a loving, kind, supporting relationship. Whomever you're with, your partner should truly be your partner. Now, if your partner is only with you because of your bank account, well, then there's a fundamental problem there. The problem is you do not vet your partner sufficiently to understand who and what you're dealing with. Many of us fall prey to that. Many of us get caught up in the moment of lust or whatever, the new love, blah, blah, blah. And things that we wouldn't normally compromise on, we put that on the back burner. Oh, I don't care. Things work out. 6 months, 8 months into it, things don't work out. You have to vet who you're dealing with, and you have to fundamentally understand the consciousness of the person you're laying with.
Reason that the real rabid feminists haven't stopped, especially the toxic and unattractive ones, is because they don't have what it takes to get men to begin with, so they don't mind being increasingly toxic. And they will take things too far for the women that don't want to take things to that next level. Even if there are enough quote-unquote normal women out there willing to stop mistreating men, what are you supposed to do with the land whales that don't get any lovin', even from their cats? They will continue to label men toxic, and doing so only now leads to diminishing returns. For
diminishing returns. He's talking about like it's a stock transaction, not a relationship. And I love how he constantly berates and belittle women, self-image and body shame. Land wells, really? You see the problem here with folks who desire only power and control over others. They will use this mental gymnastics to justify their wicked ways. They will use this mental gymnastics to justify reducing a divine being, which a woman is a divine being as well as a man. And what I mean by divine being, she was created by God just as man was. You're trying to reduce a divine being into a nut bucket. That is the goal. And that, my friend, is another aspect of the culture of death. This is the world we're living in right now. This is the world we occupy. A world that hates love, a world that hates peace, and a world that hates people power. Yes, sister, this goes against the divine nature law, natural law. Absolutely. And that's why I'm bringing it out today. For any man to want to dominate you, sister, because he feels you're some sort of subhuman, essentially, you need to run as fast as you can, because he will not bring you enlightenment. He certainly wouldn't bring you love nor peace. He will only bring you sorrow. And this is true for chicks as well. He will only bring you sorrow, anguish, frustration, and more than likely, an early death. That's why white women want black men, but we can't leave but they can't leave their husband. We don't have resources. Most of us don't. Brother Chris, you're absolutely right. What good is it, Brother Chris, if you're living in a situation where you have the house, you have the SUV, you have the stock options, but you have no love? You have no true fundamental love or intimacy. What good is that? Yes, you'll be able to feed yourself. You'll be able to go to movies or go on vacations, whatever. But you still got to go to that bed and lay beside this person who you know in your heart, in your soul, in your consciousness, you know This person don't give a rat's ass about you for real. They're just there because it's convenient for them. This is the poison of the culture of death.
First, the guilt and shame motivates us. Now it simply pisses us off. The Gillette ad shows exactly how this happens. I believe you're right, Colin, when you say that women know their modern day femininity is toxic. So that's why they're labeling men as toxic, because if men say that women are toxic, then women will just say that that's an excuse. And they'll say that us calling them out on toxic femininity is just retribution for them for saying that we're toxic men. They're worried about being called out by men for valid reasons. So what they're doing is attacking us first in the way they fear that we will attack them. Their attacks against so-called toxic masculinity are rooted in that fear. They fear that they can't compete with us. They fear that no matter what they do or accomplish, it will never match up to what men can accomplish.
Stop. There is no woman I've ever met, ever in a relationship aspect, wanted to compete. A relationship is not a competition. A relationship is acknowledgement of humanity, acknowledgement of love, acknowledgement of hope by coming together. New life. The next generation, thank you Most High, is born. This, brothers and sisters, should be our goal. And in your relationships, I strongly suggest you have a spiritual component as well that will root both parties in solidarity when the storms come, when the hell comes down and start breaking things, busting windows. You will have the shield of the Most High to comfort you and protect you. Sister Sandra, yes, brother, this is not electromagnet. The beauty of the femininity and masculinity. There is beauty on both sides. Only a savage mind, a corrupt soul, could ever truly look at a woman and see desolation and non-divinity. And the same thing's true from the female's point of view. Only a savage soul and a corrupt mind would look at a real man and see nothing but, hatred and misogyny and all that. We got to allow people to be themselves and be honest. Yes, there are tons of misogynists out there, just like there's tons of racists out there. There's tons of anti-homophobic people out there. There's tons of anti-abortion and pro-abortion. There's tons and tons of every type of person. We have to be mature enough to accept these people for what they are. Not saying that you have to deal with them, sister. I'm not saying. In fact, honestly, I'm saying you probably want to stay away from these types because they're poisoned. If I came into this chat room, let's say the chat room was an actual room, everyone's chilling in there. If I came into that chat room poisoned by anthrax or any other communicable disease, a smallpox, black plague, it would behoove you to get away from me, right? Because my disease could cause you physical damage. Same thing is true, brothers and sisters, with psychological issues, with spiritual issues. These people are damaged. That's why they think and behave the way they do.
Flesh. So they want to emotionally handicap us by destroying our self-esteem. So that we'll just bend over and take that great big feminist strap-on attached to the land wheel of our screams. Yes, they want to portray us as stupid because they can match our mental achievements. It makes them feel better about themselves. The feminists and leftists are attacking white men as racists and as privileged because they see such men as the strongest, and they need to knock that strength down.
All right, this is where I have to stop his particular brand of propaganda because you can hear some things in there. I can certainly hear some things in his voice. And I don't really want to go too far in it because I don't want this to be demonetized. I think I'm doing fairly well. But let's talk about what he says. The reason why most people are attacking white males is because white males have attacked everybody on this planet, stolen their resources, raped their women. So therefore, injecting their DNA into these people by force. They have very little compassion towards each other and outside folks. If you ever take the time to truly sit and actually talk to what we refer to as a redneck, actually talk to what we refer to as a racist or white nationalist, what you would find in this individual is emptiness that must be replaced by power. I don't know why there's emptiness there. I have no clue. I'm not the creator. I'm just a humble servant of him / her, because God is everything. I sincerely believe. Good morning, Sister Alexandria. I truly believe if we can somehow fill the void in all of us, not just one certain group, I'm talking about all of us, because we all have our baggage. We all have our bags of pain. Let's say our bags of nothing but lowly anger and hatred. If we can somehow empty all that garbage out of these bags that we carry around, replace the negativity with righteousness, with truth, and with reality, I think a lot of these conditions many people complain about will be solved by self. Let's continue this.
Down so they can look better in the eyes of society. It's the old analogy of the crabs in the bucket. They just pull the crabs down to try and achieve more and uplift themselves. I'm glad you point out that you actually see white men willing to date interracially, which I've also done in the past as well. The minority women have no problem being with a white dude. They see it as an elevation of status for themselves and their children if they have any.
See, all he's doing is reinforcing that if you get with the white guy, you're going to get the resources. You want them nails done, girl? You want to get that hair done, girl? And he's making it seem, because he's only going to talk from the white male point of view. I mean, I'm assuming that's what he is. I don't know. I don't know this particular guy. But when you listen to his little reports, that's what you're hearing. Chris, my wife don't like white guys. She said it seems strange. Well, you got to understand from this guy's point of view, who knows the caliber of females that he has dealt with in the past. But apparently he's all about white guys hitting all chicks. Of course, I've dated outside. You know, brother Chris, if you're a student of history or a student of reality, you got to understand this fundamental fact. All humans derive from the same source. When you really look at it in reality, black folks can't be racist on a couple of levels. One, we lack the power right now to actually, let's say that this guy here, Sandman, we lack the power to put Sandman out of business and ensure that he stays in systemic poverty all of his days. We don't have that power. Also, it's not in our nature. You see, being the original mother and father, you got to look at all the so-called races as your children. That's why we really don't have no stake in the whole racist game to begin with. What we're gonna do if all these people are or whatever, however you want to put, they're mutants. They were genetically blah blah, but they still come from our blood. So, what we're supposed to do moving forward? How would you keep them? Even let's just say you could wipe out every so-called race other than melanated man and woman on this planet. You can wipe out everybody: the Chinese, the Latinos, the European, blah blah blah, and all the so-called mixed people in between, blah blah blah. Then what would stop those mutant DNA genes, if you want to call them that, or expressions, different expressions of human beings, from coming back again? Seeing how it's already in the blood of everybody that's melanated. When you look at it like that, you understand, oh, now I see why the whole race thing is even here and popping. That's for these people who are in this condition to want to keep their people looking the way they look. But we also know through the natural law of inbreeding, you can only fool around like that for so many centuries before you start having some dysfunctional beings being born. You got to come back to the source to get the update. You got to come back to the source. Let's continue.
You will commonly see white males with Indian or Asian women, but it's far rarer to see a white woman with a man from such backgrounds. So it is possible that women are calling white men racists, even though they are not, in order to cover up their own racism. Why aren't they marrying and dating Chinese and Indian men in the same numbers? I see that as hypocrisy. Many of them claim Asian men don't actually find them attractive. Whenever I hear this, I laugh because I know a couple of very thirsty Indian men that love white women, yet no white woman will actually give them the time of day. Just like men are now being told that they have to date traps and trannies. Why aren't white women being told that they have to go out and date Indian men?
What the hell is a trap and a trap? I mean, I know what the training is, but I don't know what the trap. See, this is what kills me. Everybody comes up with this new lingo every so often, but I will agree with them. I think it's wrong to try to force any man to have some sort of relationship with another man, whether the man's in drag or not. You know what I mean? Um, Myself personally, I would be rather offended if I was at a party. Let's say I was, 20 years younger, kicking it at a club, dancing, having a good time, buying drinks, getting drinks bought for me, whatever. And I'm sitting here dancing with some chick that I think is a chick, by all appearances, high heels, short dress, shaved legs, no facial hair, and some sort of chest. Well, if you get to the car and let's just say you're hanging out in the car, for lack of better words, and things are getting serious, and the dress comes off, and you see a Woody Woodpecker there, a lot of guys will be freaked out and probably upset. Like, for one, here you wasted my time, you deceived me, on the level. You know what I'm saying? And pray to God that you didn't do nothing with this individual, but a lot of guys when they're drunk and stuff and young, you make mistakes. You start kissing on a girl at the club, and one thing leads to another, and next thing you know, a good time happened. Someone got lucky. Well, you're not getting lucky if you're with a dude. I'm sorry, you're getting screwed, quite literally. Sister Sandra, we are not supposed to not amalgamate with those red rubies or white people because of this kind of thinking. It is unrighteous, and this is why we are in the confused state of mind. We are not supposed to. Oh, okay. I see what she's saying. Well, let's break that down. I want to make sure I'm explicitly clear. If the people, the red, the ruby, and the white, all come from black, my question is, Sister Sandra, how would you, if you could erase all these so-called other races over time, that these skin tones and whatever will be expressed again? How could you stop that? I mean, without annihilating all the black folks in the world. Because you take away all the black folks in the world, then obviously the whole thing kind of collapses upon itself. You see, the reality is this. Humankind is humankind. Whether you want to accept this fact or not, it's irrelevant. It does not need to be validated by me. It does not need to be validated by you, because it's validated by the universe. So you cannot amalgamate with a tree. You cannot amalgamate with an inchworm. You cannot amalgamate with a polar bear. But you can with any color, flavor, variety, nationality of humans, as long as one's male and one's female, and they're both relatively healthy or at least fertile. you can bring forth life, the new generation. Now, a lot of people are uncomfortable with this fact because they want to keep the hate alive. And the hate of others at the end of the day, especially from our point of view, should really be called what it is. That's a hate of self. If all comes from us, then we don't have no business hating nobody. And the state of mind, the confused mind state we're in, that is an early development issue, meaning that the people who were raising us didn't have access to the correct information. So therefore, they cannot place the information in our heads. It really goes back to the statement my sociologist teacher made back in college. If those good old days were so great, then why are they not here today? In other words, for better or worse, it is our fate that we are on the road that we are on. And it's only through love, power, unity, and peace could we have less sorrow. We need Mark from Anaheim, please, this week. Carolina City. I will try my best to get Brother Mark on the show. But as you all know, tomorrow he will be on Carl Nelson's show, the 13th. I hope you guys all watched that. It was what is that? AM 1450. Please check out Carl Nelson's show. I mean, he's really one of the only folks we got that is sincere. I mean, we got other people, don't we? Roland Martin, Don Lemon. I'm just being sarcastic. Yes, I will be posting it. Absolutely. Yes, I'm going to try. Wait, what exactly is today? Oh, Wednesday. Yeah. I will, because I got a couple of things I have to do tomorrow, but I'm sure I'll be done before 4. But the thing is, Gal, listen here. Mark has given us so much information, hours and hours of raw, unedited information on this channel alone, not to mention all the other channels out there that host this material, like the Victory of Raw and others. But all the information that Mark has shared with us is quite literally at your fingertips. All you guys have to do is stop thinking in terms you're thinking. Just think outside the box. Ask Google questions. Check it out. I don't even know where we're going to go at, but I'm going to ask Google a question. Why are UFO sightings on the rise? Right here. Came out in April. Almost 2 months after President Trump formalized the creation of the Space Force, the U.S. Navy announced there has been an increase in UFO. Now, a lot of you people understand that the UFOs, especially in this chat room, are not from another planet. They're not from a galaxy far, far away. They're just advanced weaponry and vehicles that we already have right now. Yes, you think that you're living at the apex of the advancement of this world? You're sadly mistaken. Rolling out Area 51 technology, you know it. There's nobody I trust on TV except Amy Goodman from Democracy Now! Why do you trust Amy? Hold on, let me pull her up. I know who he's talking about. Actually, I've seen part of her program. Amy Goodman, Democracy Now! Yo, instrumentals, what's up? I mean, I look at her, right? She's pro-abortion, correct, Carol City? She's probably pro-abortion, pro-lesbianism, pro this, pro that. Hold on, brother Ken Instrumental. Hold on, let me finish this report, and then I want to break out one of your new songs, brother. Hold on, let's finish this up.
That's not to say that I'm comparing Indian men to transgendered people. I'm just saying that it's not fair to shame men for not wanting what they don't want, but leaving women to still have the right to choose whoever they want. It's hypocritical, but men have to go along with it because we're playing on the defensive against fridge-sized feminist linebackers who are playing offense.
What's up, brother
MGTOW
Murder?
is about walking off the field, flipping over the board game and going home, calling the bluff of the Walmart princesses and foam-at-the-mouth feminists. Of course they won't stop. They'll look for new ways to attack us. That's why many MGTOW guys ghost, because that female toxicity is everywhere, it seems. It presents itself to a man in many places in a guy's life.
Thank you, brother.
Their married friends, coworkers, and others. How many times have you heard a woman dump her toxicity on her husband through nagging and mistreating him, and then he dumps it onto you? It's a game of hot potato emotional tampon. You're not even married, and yet you still have to stand under the toxic piñata full of used tampons as some other people smash it open. Sometimes going your own way is not enough. Sometimes you have to cut the married men out of your life so they don't dump the toxic waste from their life onto you. Women.
And also, you won't have any man in your life in a normal male-female relationship. And when I mean by normal, I'm talking about an actual constructive one, not some poison, toxic one that he's describing. You know, the more I listen to some of these MGTOWs, and I know there's different flavors of MGTOW out there, but the more I keep on hearing this, you know, don't make love to woman type business, and I'm just not cool with that fundamentally. I'm just not. I'm not cool with having sex with robots. I'm not cool with sitting there jerking around with a bunch of dudes. Just not my cup of tea. So what needs to happen? What needs to happen? We need wealth redistribution. We need people not to have to be with people because if I'm not with you, I don't eat. No, everybody should be able to eat. Everybody should have a place to stay. If you want to be with that person, you're truly with this person because you want to be with them, because you desire to be with them, not because there's an economic incentive to be here with this person. Because that doesn't work.
Women cut guys off from their unmarried friends to protect their investment in the relationship. Meanwhile, the guy that they're really helping is the man's unmarried friend. He no longer has to deal with the emotional baggage that he used to listen to. So the married guy gets frustrated and ends up seeing a therapist, as I've witnessed many times before in group therapy. Or his spirit slowly dies as he stews in toxic femininity with no outlet to let it out. I also find it ironic that women call men pigs, yet I keep getting complaint after complaint from guys listening to my channel saying that their girlfriends are absolute slobs, that their bathrooms are covered with disorganized cosmetics, and the floor in the bathroom is covered with their woman's clothing. Isn't it amazing that women call men pigs while their own living arrangements look like pigsties? You could almost say that toxic masculinity is nothing more than a projection of toxic femininity onto men. Women that are fat, slutty, lazy, and racist are insecure, and they're just calling men those things first, trying to get us to go on the defensive so that we can't criticize them because we're too busy defending ourselves. All of the examples of toxic femininity projected onto men are destroying men's spirit. It's like women are feeling guilt and shame for the way they're living.
Yes, I can see that. I can see that, Sister Sandra. Yeah, he doesn't like his own woman. Maybe that's why he didn't give her the right to vote until after he gave black men the right to vote. And she was the dude that came over with old boy on the boat. And maybe some sort of sick self-hate on their end. You got to see. I mean, I notice all the pictures he's showing. Women have smoke coming out their mouth like there's some sort of dragon or devil or beast. But that's his cross to bear. He has all the gold, but he has none of the love. He has all the resources, but he can't simply get a human being to want to be with him for him. That's sad.
And instead of dealing with their own problems, they're projecting their problems onto us guys. Maybe they want men to have the same problems because they want to change us. After all, we hear from women all the time saying that they want to change and fix the man to be the man of her dreams. Maybe men project rationality and reason onto the women that they love while at the same time maybe women project toxic female nature onto men. I never put up with toxic women back in my dating days. I would leave such a relationship rather quickly. Many guys hang around in such toxic environments, even if they're work environments, basically, even if her female coworkers are trying to destroy his manhood on the job. Many guys stay with toxic wives that are constantly telling them that everything is their fault, partially because they see other guys agreeing to the same bargain, and also because they're afraid of ending up all alone without female validation. I always used to think about how the characters on Star Trek would be written to be motivated internally instead of with regards to female validation. And now I understand what Gene Roddenberry was trying to say, that humans in the future would have gotten over their biological desire to simp among the stars, and instead start focusing on their own mental and spiritual development. Of course, today's Star Trek Discovery has moved away from that idea, and now it's turned into a soap opera. Funny how they...
Hold on, this is a heavy comment, Sister Sandra. This is why transgender exists, to replace this woman. Boom. Boom, boom. There it is. And who can only put this type of animosity and hate in someone's heart and soul? The Most High. Like I said, the thing's changing. Whether you guys want to accept it or not, the thing is changing. It won't be much longer, y'all.
They still need a strong male captain to keep the show grounded. They had one on the first season, and now they brought in Christopher Pike for the second season. But the rest of the men are either manginas or gay. The majority of the crew is female. So Star Trek has turned into a typical office environment in our culture. Anyways, that's all I've got to say for today. Thanks again, Colin, for your donation as well as your topic. Don't forget to smash the like button the way that a married guy's single best friend gets smashed in the head by a piñata full of used tampons. Bang the bell and check out the MGTOW mystery link. Follow me on Twitter or like me on Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Subscribe to me on minds.com or gab.ai to get the video for the day after tomorrow. I'm also on BitChute. If you get any sort of value from these videos, then consider donating on either Subscribestar or Patreon, as this channel has been demonetized by YouTube. Thanks for taking your daily dose of red pills. And remember, a red pill a day keeps the biohazard babes in bikinis away. So
that is the most cringy exit I have ever heard. A red pill a day keeps the bingy bikini babes away. Wow. Wow. He sounds like a YMCA type of guy. But anyhow, let's go over here to Brother Kinstrumental real quick. Or real slow, because we got the time. I was checking out one of his songs the other day.
Well, I just made up the song today. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Said it matters where you get your information from. The Planet Circus show is always on.
Circus.
We need to have the facts, because there's too much propaganda. The truth is always under attack. Oh. They want to censor us. Who can you trust? CNN, they're not your friends. They'll lie to you in the end. Oh, matters where you get your information from. Red and Circus show is always on. We need to have the facts, cause there's too much propaganda. The truth is always under attack. I just want to say, thank God for YouTube. They had a monopoly for a long time. Now I don't pay them no mind, cause it matters where you get your information. The Bread and Circus show is always on. You need to have the facts because there's too much propaganda. Truth is always under attack.
You know, I love that song. Went perfectly with the video I put out last night about censorship. Truth is under attack. You know, they could totally say that what I'm doing on this show is straight up hate speech. I don't know how, because I advocate humanity growing and evolving into the state of being it should have always have been. But I guess I don't placate and be bashing my brothers and sisters because that's retarded. I'm not going to do that because I understand why people are in the situation they're in for the most part. It goes back to what old boy was talking about, resources and money. Many of us don't have the money, damn sure don't have the resource. Many of us have to do jobs below our stations and intellectual capacity only because you're not going to get through the glass ceiling still. You see, they're trying to do what the devil did, try to make everyone think that it don't exist. Racism doesn't exist. Misogyny doesn't exist. How can misogyny exist? We have a female senator. I would say we have a female president, but we haven't had one of them yet. We have female rock stars right here, right here. You see, all this stuff doesn't matter. And this is the most disturbing picture of them all. They're going to try to have this sister right here as the face of witches in LA. But when you click on it, when you actually click on it, there's the witch. Fundamentally different, not even the same. Okay, 8 o'clock. I got to take off, y'all. I got to go and complete this job. It's just really been a pleasure. And with this new mic, the Fire Sword, I'm going to keep bringing it to them. So this has been TPIM SR Live. Your host, True Power, signing off. As always, live your life with integrity without hate, envy, or greed. And as always, brothers and sisters, let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace.